Marcus and I came from families with a long history, bound by a childhood betrothal since we were young. But later, my family fallen on hard times, and Henry fell seriously ill, the estate's treatment of us significantly worsened. We were living under their roof on charity, with only that marriage contract left to hold on to. A daughter-in-law of the estate was expected to undergo a public medical examination for the media, for everyone's scrutiny. Yet, I was unable to bear children, and the estate believed I would be a disgrace. So, they publicly announced that Chloe was to be their daughter-in-law. At the wedding, I could only watch my husband embrace the woman he idealized. Afterwards, I chose to leave. But Hayes pleaded desperately for me to return. Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel and tell us in the comments where you're listening from. Today was the engagement I had waited 10 years for. As I sat backstage in my wedding dress, Marcus was nowhere to be found. Growing increasingly anxious, I ventured out in my wedding dress, only to find the engagement ceremony already underway. When I stood on the stage, I saw my husband holding another woman's hand. He announced to everyone, "This is my wife, Summer. Our love story has spanned 10 years. She's carrying my child, and I will fulfill my responsibilities as a father." Thunderous applause erupted from the audience. Though confused, I still walked towards him. The guests below began to whisper about me. "Isn't that Grace from the Lee family? I heard they're bankrupt now, and she's still trying to curry favor with the estate. She's not shamelessly clinging to them to get married, is she? How shameless." Hearing the insults from the crowd, I instinctively clenched my fists. Marcus shielded Summer behind him and immediately tried to dismiss me. "What are you doing here? Today is my engagement to Summer." My heart sank. "Aren't you supposed to be getting engaged to me today? Your engagement? Get OU T of the way, don't block our ceremony. Security, get her out of here now." Panicked, I quickly searched for William, Margaret, and Eleanor. But I saw a strange woman sitting beside William and Margaret, while Eleanor was relegated to a corner. Margaret immediately came up to the stage and chastised me. "Go now. Who permitted you to come up here? Don't interfere with Marcus and Summer's engagement." Her words froze me in place, my heart plunging into an icy abyss. When I lived at the estate, they didn't even hire a housekeeper. They said that a daughter-in-law and their family had to be able to wash clothes and cook. It was I who tirelessly washed, cooked, and managed their household chores. I always thought they were pleased with me. Only now did I see clearly. They had only ever treated me as a housekeeper. Summer, understanding and considerate, stepped in to smooth things over for me. "This must be Grace from the Lee family. She probably still takes that childhood betrothal seriously. You should really leave now. Don't embarrass yourself here. William and Margaret, please don't be angry. Let's not stoop to her level." Marcus's expression finally softened. The guests amongst a joyous gathering praised her. "Miss Summer is so composed. Even with her engagement ruined, she isn't upset. I heard Ms. Grace is a barren woman. The estate certainly can't let her marry in, or they'll end their family line. They say she resorted to any means necessary to marry into the family, even seduced Mr. Marcus." Margaret's face darkened, refusing to allow such a stain on their family name. She ordered the security guards to drag me away, but I gripped Marcus's pant leg tightly, demanding an explanation. However, Summer tried to pull my hand away and fell heavily to the ground. Marcus immediately kicked me aside and rushed to Summer's side. I only saw her clutching her stomach, her face pale with weakness. "Marcus, my stomach hurts so much. I don't think the engagement ceremony can continue." Margaret's face filled with alarm, and she quickly called for an ambulance. The entire banquet descended into chaos, and everyone began to curse me. Epithets of shameless and resorted to any means necessary nailed me to the pillar of shame. Margaret hit me with her hand, cursing as she struck. "You bitch. If anything happens to my grandson, you'll pay with your life. You can forget about staying in St. Jude's Hospital, he'll be left homeless. If anything happens to him, it will all be brought upon yourself, his daughter." All three of them followed Summer into the ambulance. Only I and a large group of guests remained at the banquet. My wedding dress was torn, my body covered in footprints, and I was utterly disheveled. Eleanor, who had been sitting in the corner, rushed over and slapped me hard. "Why would you ruin someone's wedding? Don't you know your Henry is in St. Jude's Hospital, his life hanging by a thread? He just received a critical condition notice yesterday. Do you have any conscience? What good are you alive for? Can't you show us some filial piety?" As she spoke, her eyes red-rimmed with tears. She gave me the bracelet on her wrist, it was her family heirloom. Her eyes welled up with tears. "Sell it and buy them some gifts. Beg for their forgiveness. The estate is our last hope, daughter. If they can't forgive you, then I'll disown you. Afterwards, the security guards ejected us from the banquet, leaving us to stand in the cold wind. Eleanor stood to the side, ceaselessly calling Margaret, trying to curry favor. My tears streamed down uncontrollably. Marcus, you lied to me again. Too as much as I resisted, I had no choice but to apologize. I pawned Eleanor's gold heirloom bracelet and bought an expensive watch and a fine bottle of liquor, preparing to go back and apologize. But as soon as I returned to the estate, I saw Summer, Marcus, William, and Margaret sitting in the living room. Steeling myself, I handed them the items I held. Dad. Mom, what I did earlier was wrong. I shouldn't have. Margaret stood up and slapped me hard. My ears rang, and my face burned with pain. She forcefully smashed my gifts to the ground. Fragments of the glass and liquor splattered, embedding in my foot, and blood quickly gushed out. Shouldn't have done what? Thankfully, my grandson is all right. Otherwise, I'd hold you solely responsible. I won't accept these gifts. I've never worn anything so cheap. My heart sank abruptly. Marcus looked at my foot, his brow deeply furrowed. Mom, that's enough. The baby is fine, so let's not make a big deal out of this time. If she dares to do it again, I'll throw her out immediately. All right, you and Dad go on home. I'll handle the rest. Margaret scoffed, then walked over to me and warned, if you try any more tricks, don't expect me to be kind. After they left, the entire house fell silent. Marcus looked at me and said coldly, you should still take care of your foot. Don't die in my house from an infection. His indifference stung me, and the physical and emotional distress made my eyes red-rimmed with tears. Seeing my state, his tone softened. A lady of the estate cannot have physical flaws, let alone be unable to bear children. So, I had no choice but to publicly announce that I married Summer, but I won't divorce you. You just need to stay out of the public eye. A deep bitterness filled me. So many years of our relationship still couldn't withstand gossip and rumors. I simply replied with a faint, all right. Marcus had never been treated this way before, and his face showed a hint of exasperation. Grace, who are you giving that look to? Summer, seeing Marcus's attention on me, could only throw herself into his arms. It's okay, Marcus. Grace probably didn't mean to harm my baby. It was all my fault. Her eyes quickly red-rimmed with tears, and Marcus felt a pang of sorrow. It was clearly her own act, yet everyone believed her. She's malicious. She's jealous of the baby in your belly. That's just how she is. I finally couldn't help but retort, it wasn't me. It was her. Enough. Do you think we're all blind? I'm telling you, from now on, your job is to take care of Summer until she gives birth. If she gets hurt again, you'll pay double the price. After saying that, he took Summer's hand and led her upstairs. I looked at the mess on the floor and finally broke down, sobbing uncontrollably. Summer's voice drifted from the room. Marcus, is Grace crying? Ignore her. She uses these kinds of tricks all the time. My heart had grown numb. I found my cell phone and called Ethan. 2 days from now, come back to the country and pick me up. 3 They carried on until midnight. First convenience, Marcus arranged my room next to theirs. Listening to their intimate sounds, I couldn't sleep a wink. My tears streamed down, yet I was powerless. It wasn't until the latter half of the night that I finally drifted into a light sleep. But a short while later, my room door was flung open. Marcus yanked me up. Stop sleeping. Are we keeping you in our house just for you to sleep? Still half asleep, I was dragged into their room, nearly stumbling. The moment the door opened, the chaotic scent made me frown instantly, and all traces of sleep vanished. Summer walked over, cradling her stomach, and said to me apologetically, Grace, I'm so sorry to trouble you. It's all Marcus's fault. He clearly doesn't know how to control himself, even with me being pregnant. Her words made my heart sink. My husband was betraying me right in front of my eyes. I could only crouch down to pick up their scattered clothes, cleaning the bridal suite that I had personally decorated with alcohol, over and over again. My heart ached to the point of suffocation, but I had to choke back my tears. Marcus, Grace is still your wife, after all. Isn't this a bit much? Marcus remained silent for a while, then said blandly, it's fine. She won't take it to heart. They say. This isn't something you should be doing anyway. So, was it something I should be doing then? I received no answer. After I finished cleaning, Marcus took Summer's hand and walked over to me. Summer wants to eat spicy green beans. Go make them for her now. As he spoke, he didn't even glance at me. Seeing him like this, I felt an immeasurable disappointment. I only remembered the young Marcus holding my hand, solemnly promising me, if you marry me in the future, I swear I'll never let you down, never make you do housework, and never make you cry even once. That youthful promise had ultimately been washed away by time. I found myself unconsciously staring at Marcus, but he kicked me. What are you waiting for? Go now. I composed myself and went to cook. But while I was stewing the spicy green beans, Summer said she was hungry and insisted on sneaking a bite. I kindly advised her against it, but she wouldn't listen. After eating, she even stood in front of me defiantly. But soon after, she started vomiting and even foamed at the mouth. Marcus quickly called an ambulance, his eyes red-rimmed with tears. When the ambulance arrived, he forcefully dragged me in, saying viciously, "If anything happens to Summer or the baby she's carrying, you'll pay with your life." For soon, Summer was rushed to St. Jude's Hospital. But the hospital had just admitted victims from a major accident, and there were no available beds. He held Summer in his arms, kneeling everywhere, begging doctors to save her. My head spun, and I suddenly remembered 3 years ago. I had been in a car accident then, with no St. Jude's Hospital for miles around. He cried and told me, "Grace, you haven't been my bride yet. I forbid you to die." He was the one who carried me for 5 kilometers, kneeling before strangers, pleading for their help, so I could be rushed to St. Jude's Hospital in time. To pray for my safety, he walked to a temple, bowing his head to the ground with every step until his head was bleeding. Now, his kneeling was for another woman. As soon as a bed became available, the doctor quickly explained to him, "The patient has food poisoning, which caused severe hemorrhage. But the O-type blood in the hospital's blood bank has all been used for the recent car accident victims. It might be too late to get more." Before I could even react, Marcus shoved me towards the doctor. "Take hers. She's O-type blood, and she's healthy. You can draw more from her." Due to the urgency of the situation, the doctor didn't ask about my condition. Soon, a long, thin needle entered my arm, and my head grew dizzier and dizzier. After drawing the blood, the doctor hurried into the operating room. I was already anemic, and now my entire body was drained of color. I could only cling tightly to Marcus's clothes. "Marcus, save me." Marcus paused for a moment, but then he shook me off. "This is a mess you made yourself. You have to pay the price." He left, without a single backward glance. My last shred of hope shattered. I could only fall straight to the ground until a pair of large hands caught me. Ethan's voice was choked with emotion. "I came too late." I passed out in his arms. When I regained consciousness, it was already past midnight. Marcus hadn't called me, not even a single word of concern. I took off the ring on my finger and sent him a final text message. "I've uploaded the home security footage to your cell phone. Let's get a divorce." 5 Ethan was staying here for 2 days to hand over his work, and I rented a place with him. On the way, my cell phone kept ringing. It was a text message from Marcus. "I'm sorry, Grace, I misunderstood you. Please don't be temperamental." Seeing no reply from me, he got angry himself. "Grace, how dare you mention divorce without my permission? Grace, if you dare to divorce me, I will cut off your Henry's funding at St. Jude's Hospital." I still didn't reply. It wasn't until the next day, when I went downstairs to buy groceries, that I saw Marcus standing below. He was unshaven and looked like he hadn't slept all night. I tried to walk past him, but he grabbed me tightly. "Grace, why aren't you replying to my text messages? I waited for you all night at home." I shook off his hand and retorted. "Enough. Weren't you busy taking care of Summer in the hospital room? You complain after waiting only a few short hours, but what about the hundreds of nights I waited for you before?" As I spoke, all my grievances poured out. He looked at me, stunned, and it took him a long time to react. He was flustered, even dropping the gift that slipped from his pocket. It was a necklace. "Wife, please don't be angry. Summer and I were just putting on a show for appearances for William and Margaret. You're still in my heart. Once she gives birth to the baby, we can be together properly. I've put you through so much during this time." As he spoke, he tried to put the necklace on me. But I refused. I pulled out my cell phone and showed him Summer's social media post from yesterday. The photo showed that very necklace. Her caption read, "Marcus is always like this. He doesn't understand aesthetics but always loves buying me expensive things, but this one is really too ugly. Only unwanted gifts from others would he consider giving to me." I didn't want to argue with him anymore. I pulled divorce papers from my bag and said, "Sign it. Let's part ways amicably." He froze for a moment but quickly reacted. "Grace, stop being temperamental. I know I didn't clarify the situation before having you donate blood that day, but we've had so many years of history. Are you just going to throw it all away?" He didn't believe me, a sneer still on his lips. It wasn't until Ethan came downstairs and affectionately wrapped an arm around my shoulders that Marcus's face drastically changed. Grace, you're something else. You found a toy boy in just one day, didn't you? He looked at Ethan with disdain. Don't you know she chose to be a doormat in our house just to marry me? Everyone knows Grace is madly in love with me. She's just using you to make me jealous. My heart felt like it had been pricked by needles, aching to the point where I could barely breathe. So, all these years of my devotion were, in his eyes, nothing more than being a doormat. Ethan put his arm around my shoulders and provocatively said to Marcus, "What someone else dismisses, I cherish as a treasure. Let's go, we're going grocery shopping." Ethan led me away, and even from a distance, I could still hear Marcus's voice. "Grace, you'll regret this. Don't come kneeling and apologizing to me then." 2 days later, I grabbed my luggage and rushed to Midtown Airport with Ethan. As we prepared to board, I received a video call from Marcus. The video showed my Henry tied up and barely conscious at the bar. In that moment, my sanity shattered. I never imagined Marcus would go to such extremes, taking my gravely ill father to the bar to threaten me. When I arrived at the bar, I found Marcus, Summer, and his friends sitting in a circle, laughing mockingly. "See? I told you she'd come back. Apologize to me." His friends all agreed. "Her divorce charade was just to get your attention. Everyone knows Grace loves you to the point of having no dignity." I ignored their taunts, frantically searching the private room for my parents. I found they weren't there. I rushed over, grabbing Marcus's clothes, and angrily demanded, "Where are my parents?" Eleanor slowly emerged from the shadows, a fawning smile on her face. "Mr. Marcus, Grace is here. Can you please not stop my husband's medication?" Before could finish, Summer kicked her in the waist. "You have no right to speak here. Get out now." Eleanor already had a back injury, and Summer was wearing heels. I immediately rushed to help Eleanor. But, her face full of fury, pushed me away. "Why aren't you bowing your head to the ground and apologizing to Mr. Marcus right now? This is all your fault. How could I have given birth to such an ungrateful daughter like you? Don't you know our family still needs the estate to revive us?" Laughter erupted around me, making me feel utterly humiliated. Summer leaned against Marcus. "If you hadn't undercooked the beans, I wouldn't have thrown up and almost lost the estate's heir. I think you have malicious intentions." Fearing she would get emotional, Marcus quickly pulled her into his arms. He looked down at me with a scornful gaze. "Grace, if you kneel and apologize to Summer, I'll forgive you for what you said a few days ago. And you'd better cut ties completely with that toy boy, or you can expect to be thrown out of our house." Eleanor also pinched me hard with her hand from the side. "Kneel down quickly. As long as you bow your head and apologize, our family can revive. You can't even have children, yet Mr. Marcus still married you. We're already very grateful. Why are you causing trouble now?" But I still didn't move. Eleanor, enraged, immediately kicked the back of my knee, making me fall straight to the ground, my knees burning with pain. She pressed my head down, forcing me to bow my head to the ground until it bled. Marcus, seeing this, pushed Eleanor away and pulled me into his arms. "Grace, are you all right?" The concern in his voice was involuntary, but I found it utterly disingenuous. Blood gushed from my lower body. His face turned ashen. "How could this happen? Someone, call an ambulance quickly." He carried me into the ambulance, his eyes bloodshot. "Grace, what's going on?" I responded, faint and weak. "I'm pregnant. With your child." His expression froze, but quickly turned to rage. "You can't bear children, can you? How could you be pregnant? You must be lying to me." Summer's face also showed panic. "Marcus, she's definitely lying. Everyone saw the medical report, it said she couldn't bear children. How could that be false?" Her words irritated Marcus, and he angrily told her to shut you. Marcus could only try to stop the bleeding, tears streaming down his face. This was the second time I had seen him lose his composure like this. The first time was when I had my accident. At Jude's hospital, the doctors immediately performed surgery on me. During the surgery, even with anesthesia, the pain was unbearable. The doctor's expression was serious. "Your body is not currently fit for childbirth. Forcing it could cause you severe harm." After a moment of thought, I slowly said, "Terminate it. I don't want the child." When I was wheeled out, Marcus, Eleanor, William, and Margaret all crowded around, asking about my condition. "Doctor, how is her baby?" The pregnant woman chose to terminate the pregnancy, and we respected her decision. "What?" Marcus still held a sliver of hope. "Doctor, isn't she unable to bear children? How could she be pregnant? Is this a special case?" The doctor looked shocked. Her body is perfectly healthy, she has always been able to get pregnant. However, the pregnant woman experienced too much emotional upheaval during her pregnancy, leading to a threatened miscarriage. The pregnant woman also chose to give up. But this surgery has caused too much damage to her body, she might not be able to conceive again. Marcus was struck as if by lightning, slumping to the ground. Margaret was still muttering to herself. How could this be? Was the medical report wrong? It makes no sense. Eleanor also looked at me, deeply disappointed in her. You ungrateful child. You were carrying the estate's heir. How could you choose to have an abortion? Seeing that even my own mother didn't care whether I lived or died, I closed my eyes. Marcus roared, everyone stop arguing. His eyes were bloodshot, and he said through gritted teeth, Grace, you are so heartless. To get revenge on me, you'd even give up our child? What do our feelings for each other mean to you? Enduring the pain from my wound, I retorted, doesn't Summer also have a child in her belly? Even if I hadn't been pregnant, I was severely anemic. Did you ever consider my feelings when you forced me to donate blood to Summer? He parted his lips but said nothing more. He simply followed me silently into the hospital room, ushering everyone else out until only the two of us remained. He kissed my forehead, his voice trembling slightly. Wife, it's all right. As long as you recover your health, we can have children whenever you're ready. As long as you don't divorce me, I'll do anything. I promise you, I'll never cut off your Henry's medical expenses for the rest of my life. Please don't be angry, okay? Seeing his affectionate demeanor, I couldn't help but feel nauseous. A sarcastic expression curled on my lips. Marcus, you don't deserve to be the father of my child. No child wants to share a father with someone who is not family. He began to regret it, continuously pleading for my forgiveness. I simply pressed the call bell, asking the nurse to escort him out, and only then did I find some peace. But from that day on, he came to St. Jude's Hospital to visit me every day. He brought me food and took care of me. Even though I didn't accept his gestures, he seemed content. Until this day, when he opened the door and found I wasn't there. He frantically searched for me throughout the entire hospital, feeling wronged as he looked. But at that moment, I was already on an airplane. Ethan sat beside me, carefully observing my expression. Are you really going to let go? Back then, when I asked you to go abroad to be a designer, you said you couldn't bear to leave the people here behind. Turns out he was a scumbag. I pursed my lips and looked out the window. Everything will pass. 8 since left, Marcus had been living in a daze every day. Margaret still believed that the loss of the child had hit him too hard, causing his despair. So, she quickly tried to comfort him. Son, even if that child is gone, Summer still has one in her belly. There's no need to be so dramatic over one woman. Summer also moved closer, leaning intimately against him. That's right, Marcus. I still have your baby in my belly. Marcus, it's better that woman is gone. Then you can finally get rid of her opportunistic parents. I really couldn't stand them enough. Marcus stared at her with bloodshot eyes. I will only have Grace as my wife for this lifetime, and I will not cut off her Henry's medical expenses. Summer was furious, her voice sharp and piercing. Why? Why does that woman get favoritism since childhood? I'm clearly better than her in every way, so why can't you even look at me? Marcus forcefully pushed her away, completely disregarding that she was pregnant. Because you resorted to any means necessary to get into my bed and got pregnant with my child. Originally, I thought that once you gave birth, Grace and I would raise the child together. But I never imagined you would constantly hurt her. And by the way, don't even think about the position of Mrs. Hayes. My wife will always only be Grace. After left, Summer watched his retreating back with hateful eyes. She then dialed David's number. Darling, could you help me prepare some medicine? 9. The slower pace of life abroad finally allowed me to fully return to my career. Ethan took such good care of me that I even started putting on some weight. But and Marcus kept calling. They wanted me to come back. Even called, saying that without me, Marcus's condition was deteriorating daily, and something bad might happen if it continued. Eleanor also said that Henry's condition was improving, and he had recently woken up, apologizing for her previous attitude towards me. All the text messages Marcus sent me were lengthy paragraphs, ending with I will not marry anyone else until you return. I could read the initial messages with a poker face, but eventually, I got so annoyed that I swapped out my SIM card. That finally brought some peace. Until today, when a big order came in. He client wanted a custom wedding dress for his wife. He said he had made a mistake, causing his wife to temporarily leave home. He wanted to wait for her return and then hold a wedding for her. I was moved by his story and immediately worked overtime to complete the task for him. But the client never met me in person, only responded to my messages on his cell phone. Yet, no matter when I sent a message, he would reply instantly. When the wedding dress was finally completed, my eyes welled up slightly. It was the most perfect creation I had ever made. At that moment, the client sent a message, saying he wanted to meet me in person tomorrow to inspect the goods. But he requested that I wear it to see the effect, as his wife was very particular. I didn't think anything of it. The next morning, I quietly waited for the client to arrive, dressed in the wedding dress. The chime above the door jingled, and Marcus walked in. He held a ring in his hand and slowly knelt before me. "Grace, will you marry me?" I frowned. "Why is it you?" He immediately explained in a flustered tone, "I've been looking for you all these years, but I couldn't find you. By chance, I saw a dress that strongly resembled your design style. I looked up the designer, and it was you, of course. So I wanted you to wear the wedding dress you personally designed and then marry me." His tears streamed down his face. "Grace, I've missed you so much. Every time I dreamt of you, you were walking away from me, so I didn't dare to sleep at all. I've finally found you. Can you please forgive me?" He took my hand, trying to force the ring onto my finger, but I coldly pulled it back. "Marcus, you lied to me again." I played the audio recording Summer had sent me, filled with their recent intimate and lingering sounds. "I love you." Without a doubt, it was Marcus saying this to Summer in a moment of passion. He became frantic. That was all Summer's doing. She drugged me. She was malicious, trying to drive a wedge between us. I said that because I thought she was you, Grace. You've always been the only one in my heart. No matter how much he pleaded with tears, my heart remained unmoved. It wasn't until I saw Ethan arrive that I finally smiled. Ethan stood by my side, pulled me into his arms, and provocatively said to Marcus, "Thank you for your refusal to marry me back then. Now my wife and I are very happy. Our wedding is in 2 days. You're welcome to attend." Marcus instinctively looked at me, but found that my eyes were only for Ethan. He clenched his fists, asking me unwillingly, "Grace, is there really no possibility for us anymore?" "Yes. All right." After saying that, he left dejectedly. "Wait." A flicker of hope appeared in his eyes, and Ethan's grip on my hand tightened. "Regarding child, you might want to review the security footage from a few years ago." By this time, Summer's child was already 3 years old and could already say daddy. Marcus bypassed the child and walked straight to the home office. Margaret was still scolding him. "I really don't know how you can be a father, not even taking care of your own child." Marcus turned on the computer and began reviewing the security footage from previous years. First, he saw clips of Summer bullying Grace behind her back, followed by footage of him defending Summer. Even now, seeing Grace like that, he couldn't help but felt a pang of sorrow. His fists were tightly clenched, and he finally came across a video of Summer and David together intimately. All the truth became clear at this moment. Grace's medical report was fake, and Summer's child belonged to David. He gave a bitter laugh, only then realizing how foolish he had been. He had personally ended the life of his own child. Just then, Summer entered, wearing a form-fitting dress that accentuated her perfect curves. She clung to Marcus, asking coyly, "Marcus, come on." Marcus's eyes were bloodshot, and he tightly gripped her neck with his hand. "Summer, you actually cheated on me with another man and gave birth to an illegitimate child for me to raise? Let go, let go." The commotion attracted Margaret, and the boy also ran in, crying loudly. Seeing struggling to breathe, she quickly stepped between them. "What are you doing? You'll scare the child. Let go of her immediately." Marcus had lost all reason. "Mom, this child is her illegitimate child with David. She was just trying to scam us into marriage. We've all been fooled." "What? Son, put her down first. We can talk this through. You're going to kill her." Marcus then slowly released Summer. The child kept crying loudly, and Margaret, having lost her former patience to comfort it, carelessly handed it to the housekeeper. She ordered someone to bring David back immediately. When he returned and saw the situation, he likely understood what had happened. He immediately dropped to his knees. "I'm sorry, sir and madam. Summer and I already had feelings for each other at the time. I never imagined that after she became pregnant with my child, her status would be raised by bearing a child. Just blame Summer, it has nothing to do with me." Summer retorted loudly, "Didn't you make me do it in the first place? Now you're pushing all the blame onto me." Watching their petty squabbles, Marcus finally understood how terribly wrong he had been. He had personally driven away the person who loved him most. He drove both of them out of the city and froze their assets. As for the child, he had originally wanted to send him away too. But the child was innocent, he couldn't bring himself to be so cruel. He could only entrust the child to his driver, who had no children of his own, to care for. He stood dejectedly at his home office, silently gazing at the wedding dress Grace had custom made for herself. 11 When got married, Marcus still came. Grace's parents, Eleanor and Henry, also came, but they sat in a corner. The seats reserved for her parents, however, empty. Her in-laws, William and Margaret, however, were very kind to Grace, always looking out for her. When the officiant asked Ethan if he would take Grace as his wife, Marcus's eyes welled up with tears. "I do," Ethan said. At that moment, Marcus put down his glass and left. Although walking against the flow of the crowd made him very conspicuous, everyone was congratulating the newlyweds. Grace and Ethan completed their wedding amongst a joyous gathering. After the wedding ended, Grace's parents lingered outside her dressing room. Grace sighed and said, "Come in." Eleanor was a little surprised, clutching Grace's hand, her eyes brimming with tears. "Daughter, your father and I are truly sorry. We were blinded by immediate gains, making you compromise again and again. But at that time I had no choice. Your father was in St. Jude's hospital, and I could only act that way. Whether you resent me or curse me, now that I see you are happy, that is enough." Seeing graying hair and the wrinkles on her face, Grace couldn't help but felt a pang of sorrow. Grace knew that at that time, there had been an accident in the family, and the entire burden had fallen solely on Eleanor's shoulders. Grace knew everything, but there was still a knot of resentment in her heart. Grace said softly, "I have already had Ethan inject capital, and the company will soon revive." They didn't show the expected joy, they just kept crying. When went on her honeymoon, she received a call from St. Jude's Hospital. "Are you Ms. Grace? Mr. Marcus was in a car accident yesterday and is close to death. Can you come see his final farewell?" Grace refused. "Please contact his parents and wife. I am no longer involved with him." Marcus, on his end, even with an oxygen mask on, could still hear the phone conversation. His tears fell uncontrollably. His parents, William and Margaret, were inconsolable. "Son, hold on. You can't die. What will we do if you die?" Marcus removed his oxygen mask, and his voice was faint and weak. "Mom, Dad. I'm sorry. I don't think I can hold on much longer. If you meet Grace, please tell her for me that I'm sorry." After speaking, he let his hand drop, reaching the end of his life. Meanwhile, Grace was on her honeymoon, leaning sweetly into Ethan's embrace. "Will you look down on me because I can't have children?" He didn't reply for a long time, and Grace thought he was looking down on her. Just as Grace was about to turn and scold him, she noticed his tears falling. "Grace, I don't want you to remember that period of your life anymore." Grace felt deeply moved. See? When hardships are mentioned, the people who love her will be sadder than Grace. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to share your opinions. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.